Thinking about changing Medicare plans this year? Well, if you ask the wrong questions or you don't ask any questions at all, you might end up with worse coverage or higher premiums. Hi, I'm Larry Goist, owner of LMS Insurance Group, where we help seniors navigate the Medicare Maze. So in today's short video, I'm going to go over three real basic topics. Number one, I'm going to tell you a few mistakes I see every year during open enrollment. Number two, I'm going to tell you guys the 10 questions you have to ask yourself before you change plans. And then thirdly, I'm going to give you guys a few things to look out for open enrollment this year, and that's all coming up next. Hey, before I dive in, don't forget to like our channel. Definitely subscribe if you find this content helpful. I really appreciate you doing that. Okay, so let's dive into some of the common mistakes I see during open enrollment. So number one would be just switching plans because of a flashy flex card or OTC card. Now, the extra benefits built in Medicare Advantage are an important part of the plan, but remember, changing for an extra $20 or $30 a month in groceries sometimes can end up costing you a lot of money on the back end. So make sure when changing plans, you're not just looking at the over-the-counter benefit and monthly food card, but actually look at your health insurance copays as well. I think the second mistake people make is that they make decisions sometimes just based on the total monthly premium. Sometimes a $0 Medicare Advantage plan is perfect, but sometimes spending $10, $15, or $20 a month on a Medicare Advantage plan can enhance your benefits 2 or 3 times. So just because it's a zero premium plan, don't avoid the plans that have $10, $15, and $20 monthly premiums, because sometimes those offer some of the best benefits. The third thing I see often is when people change plans, they don't always check all of their doctors. So just because you were covered on your former plan does not mean the new plan you're signing up for is going to cover your doctors and your prescriptions. So make sure you check that before you pull the trigger and go to a new plan. So what are those 10 questions you need to ask yourself before you change plans? Well, to build on that last one, you need to ask yourself, are my doctors and specialists, are they all covered in this new plan? That's question number one before you consider anything else, is do my doctors accept this certain type of Medicare coverage? Okay, the second thing you need to check is, does the hospital that I want to go to, are they in network on my plan? Now, to be clear, if you're on Medicare Advantage, you're covered at any hospital across the U.S. for an emergency. But if you want to have elective surgeries like cataract surgeries, shoulder replacements, knee replacements, hip replacements, right? You have to make sure that the surgical center or the hospital is going to be inside of the network of the new plan you pick. Okay, number 3 is prescription costs. You have to ask yourself, does my plan have a deductible for prescriptions? And if it does, do my prescriptions apply to the deductible or not? So you could see all this on Medicare.gov. You can work with the broker at LMS Insurance Group. We can run an entire comparison and show you to the penny what your prescriptions will cost the following year. The number 4 thing you need to ask is, what is my maximum out-of-pocket? So if you're looking at Medicare Advantage plans, your maximum out-of-pocket is the most you could be responsible for in copays in the given year. And you want to know what that number is, because that is your worst case scenario. Meaning if you sit in a hospital for 300 days, you can't be charged more than your max out of pocket. So whatever plan you pick, just make sure you're comfortable with your maximum out of pocket and you know what that means. So the 5th thing to ask is, does my plan require prior authorizations or referrals? So if you're on a Medicare supplement, most services do not require prior authorization. However, under Medicare Advantage, 99% of Medicare Advantage plans do require prior authorization. And then secondly, referrals. Do you have to go to your primary care doctor to be referred to a specialist? Under Original Medicare, no, but if you're shopping Medicare Advantage, each plan is unique. Some plans require referrals, others don't. Make sure you know before you go. Okay, number 6, what happens if I travel? So are you in an HMO or a PPO? If you're in an HMO, You're not going to want to go to doctors out of state if it's not an emergency. On a PPO, you have more flexibility. You could go in or out of network, but if you go out, you're going to pay a little bit more. Number 7 is, what are my ancillary benefits? What do I get for dental, vision, and hearing? These are all unique packages. Each plan is different. Pay attention to those details. It could save you thousands. And what other extra benefits are offered is number 8. Is there transportation? Is there an over-the-counter card? Do I get rewards for doing preventative services? Check your extra benefits. They do add up. Number 9 is, how does this compare to my current plan? Yeah, I might get $25 on a food card, but how much am I going to pay at the hospital? Check the fine print. Check all your categories. If you're going to move plans, that's fine, but is what you're buying actually better than what you had? And number 10, before you pull the trigger, tell your broker, I want to see a side-by-side comparison. I want to see the plan I used to have next to the plan you're going to put me on, so I can see side-by-side all the costs so the wool can't be pulled over your eyes. Okay, so those are the 10 things to check before you change plans, but I also want to leave you with 3 little tips for this open enrollment. So my number 1 tip is, you can go to Medicare.gov, build a prescription list, and you can see to the penny which plan is going to give you the most favorable costs in 2026. Tip number 2, if you are getting a monthly food benefit in 2026, that food benefit is going to go away unless you have some sort of chronic condition that falls under the SSBCI category. I will put a link in the description below that talks a little bit about that. And my 3rd tip is, do a review. I have never seen things change more than they have the last 2 years. Now, all these changes aren't bad, some are good, but find a broker, find someone you trust, see where you stood last year versus where you could be next year. So guys, before you change plans, make sure you ask yourself those 10 questions. Are your doctors covered? Is the pharmacy in network? Can you still go to your hospital, right? What kind of ancillary benefits do you get? And how does your plan this year compare to last year? And as always, if you need help or you need help guiding this Medicare Maze and open enrollment, that's why we're here at LMS Insurance Group. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll talk to you next time. Larry Goist. Thanks.